to our dear leader. Be nice about him, Russell, otherwise he'll throw us in jail. You know what he's like.
Well, yeah.
First of all, this is... so you know that Keir Starmer, strange speech today, stood in the Rose Garden at Downing Street and addressed the nation. He seems to think... He seems to delude himself. He has the full backing of the nation and that we just want him to, you know, lead us through the next decade and that, yes, we're right behind him. We're not, mate. We're not. We don't trust you either. He says, I will restore trust and hope to British politics. Yeah. Also, you kept that cronyism thing going well, haven't you? Trust? I wouldn't trust that guy as far as he could throw him. Anyway, here he is talking about the riots.
The riots didn't just betray the sickness. They also revealed the cure, found not in the cynical conflict of populism, but in the coming together of a country. They reminded us who we really are. I felt real pride in those people who cleaned up our streets, rebuilt the walls, repaired the damage. And I couldn't help thinking about the obvious parallels. Because imagine the pride we will feel as a nation when, after the hard work of clearing up the mess is done, we have a country that we have built together, built to last, that belongs to every single one of us, and all of us have a stake in it.
He's like a sort of parochial vicar talking down in a holier-than-thou way to his thin congregation. Really annoying kind of way he speaks. But what the hell was that crap all about? I mean, you know, we didn't feel pride. What are you on about? You did not unite the nation by throwing grannies into jail for 3 years for putting hurty words on Facebook. You did not unite the nation by throwing an 18-year-old kid into jail for waving a St George's flag in front of a mosque. I mean, that was a stupid thing to do. The granny was stupid, but jail? Jail? Is that your solution to everything? It's really frightening, this, isn't it?
I think that I watched it live this afternoon, only because I had to, I guess, for the purposes of this. I thought it was nothing but a patronising blame game.
Yeah.
A patronising blame game.
Well put.
So he stands there, holier than thou, blaming the Tories for everything.
Of course,
and of course, he will continue to do so for probably, the next 4.5 to 5 years. I think he also used this speech as a more formal way of begging for that second term. And obviously, it's way too early for him to be doing that. But what he's really saying to us, Kev, is I've now realised that I'm not going to be able to deliver the stuff I said I would. So what I can now do in 4 years' time is say, well, I did say it was going to take longer than one term. So this is simply just a way of reaching out and getting his excuses in early. That's what he's doing.
Exactly right. So it's going to be a hell of a bad 5 years. Nobody will vote him back in.
And he'll say, well, it was really bad.
Yeah,
you know?
This line, the Tories have left us such a mess. Now, I hold no candle for the Tories. They were a disaster. But I'm sick to death of hearing this Labour lot going, oh, well, look what mess they've left us. Look at the mess they've left us. I mean, you know, what do they think we are? Stupid? It's so obvious what they're doing.
You know, he does, Kev.
They are just saying, we are going to give you a really hard time. We're going to raise your taxes, but don't blame us, blame the Tories. No, no, no. When you raise our taxes, which you said you wouldn't, Starmer, we blame you. Not the Tories, we blame you, and we blame your Chancellor. Were you lying to us, or did you really not know? What do you reckon?
Yeah, and look, he also, there was so much to unpack in that speech that was disingenuous, untruthful or hypocritical, shall we say. One of the things was that he blatantly blamed the Conservatives for the riots. You know, he said that, you know, the legacy of the Conservatives is responsible for the riots. I mean, I would argue that, and I think you hit on this earlier on, that part of the reason that those riots became more inflamed, unacceptable as that behaviour is, no one wants to see people setting fire to things and throwing things at the police. That's completely unacceptable. We accept that. However, his rhetoric, his narrative in the immediate aftermath of Southport and Westminster and so on really added fuel to the flames because he effectively... He talked in his speech today, one of the many things that he talked about was diversity and division. If there's anyone that's promoting more division in this country right now, it's Keir Starmer, for the fact that he is promoting two-tier policing, the fact he won't acknowledge and accept that there is two-tier policing, and the fact that he wants to blame basically every white working class person that's on the street saying, hey, I'm a bit worried about Britain. Not the rioters, I'm not talking about the ones that are throwing things, I'm talking about the ordinary working class people of this country that go to a protest because they're concerned about the state state of Britain.
Yeah.
He's labelled them all as far right.
Of course he has.
That's more divisive than anything anybody else could possibly do that's in on the political stage right now.
Yeah, and of course he refers these Labour pompous snobs, always referring to the scourge of populism, because it's the cynical conflict of populism. Well, you know what the definition of populism is? Policies that are popular with the people. What exactly is wrong with that?
Yeah. Well,
why does Keir Starmer hate policies that are popular with the people?
Because he knows that a lot of the stuff he's now going to do is against the grain of the manifesto, the contract, the promise, the pledges that he made with the people, and that he can now just say, yeah, but they're the tough decisions that I've got to make as a consequence of all this nonsense where he says, he didn't know about the £21 billion black hole. Well, he did, and the Office of Budget Responsibility basically said that the government at the time were aware of it back in March, and therefore as an open book policy, Rachel Reeves, Keir Starmer and others were therefore very aware of it. We also know, and experts have said this time and time again over the last few days, that one of the reasons for that £22 billion black hole is because of the public sector pay increases that Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves have granted. Plus, of course, the £11 billion that he, not the previous government, has decided to maintain in terms of going to other countries for the purposes of climate reparations, effectively. That's where the black hole is.
He's going to give £84 million, isn't he, to foreign countries?
No, 11 billion for the purposes.
11 billion. So that
84 million was just to.
This is madness, folks. This is madness. Let's just quickly go on to the main facet of his speech. The budget is going to be painful. So, big surprise. Here is our dear leader talking about the upcoming very painful budget that basically he said that wouldn't happen. But here it comes.
There is a budget coming in October, and it's going to be painful. We have no other choice, given the situation that we're in. Those with the broadest shoulders should bear the heavier burden, and that's why we're cracking down on non-doms. Those who made the mess should have to do their bit to clean it up. Just as when I responded to the riots, I'll have to turn to the country and make big asks of you as well, to accept short-term pain for long-term good, the difficult trade-off for the genuine solution. That is not the position we should be in. It's not the position I want to be in. But we have to end the politics of the easy answer that solves nothing.
Well, there you go. Again, blaming the Tories and all that. Now, what he's really going to do, everybody, if you're not fortunate enough to work in the public sector, he's going to tax the rest of us, and he will take our tax money and he'll give it to his mates in the public sector. He already is giving them huge pay rises, the doctors, the civil servants, you name it, the train drivers. They're all getting massive rises, and it's you and me who'll have to pay for it. Classic Labour. So here we go. And then he says, first of all, I don't think the non-doms are responsible for the mess. And by the way, taking away non-doms tax benefits,
$2 billion.
It'll make them no money at all. £2 billion, that is peanuts.
Well, but it's even worse than that. It's only $2 billion, so it doesn't touch the sides in terms of the problem. But it's already been dealt with in the previous budget by the Conservative government before they lost office. They re-regulated and changed the rules on non-doms to win that $2 billion back. So, I mean, that $2 billion that the Labour Party have been talking about from non-doms for the last few months is doing a very, very big bit of heavy lifting, because they decided to use it time and time again. Look, look, there's a whole bunch of other things around the economy that he talks about that are so wide of the mark, so incorrect. He and Rachel Reeves believe that governments are responsible for growth. They're not. The people that are responsible for growth in this country are people that work, consumers that spend money, business owners, wealth creators,
not people who
that
work in the public sector.
No, they're the drain.
Yeah,
they're the
drain on our resources.
So economically they are a drain because, yes, they pay tax, but obviously they are net takers from the economy. So the people that provide GDP growth and employment and so on, particularly are small and medium-sized enterprises. They're responsible for employing about 16 million people. What it seems now that Keir Starmer's going to do with those really sinister words that rang in my head as he said them, those with the broadest shoulders will take the burden. Do you know what that means? That means anyone over 50 grand a year, anyone that works hard, anyone that contributes and already pays more tax as a percentage of what they earn, anyone that creates jobs and is self-employed, any entrepreneur, he's going to stuff.
He's going to hit everybody who's doing well in life.
And do you know what they'll do?
Hit us hard.
They'll all either close their businesses down, not all, but many will close their businesses down. They'll work less hard, and the really wealthy ones that he wants to tax for the most amount of money, they're already on their way to Dubai and Ireland. They're already gone.
Yeah, Lord Wahid Ali has had his Downing Street pass revoked ahead of this speech, funnily enough. He's given £500,000 to Labour generally. He's allowed to do that. By the way, he's an old friend of mine. He's a very nice man.
Is that why you're going to defend him now, Kev?
No, he is he's a very nice guy.
Should he have a pass to number 10?
I don't blame Wahid at all. He's just behaving in the way rich people always do.
It's not his fault. If any of us were given a pass, you take it, wouldn't you?
Exactly. And also, Keir Starmer, as I said to Jeremy Kyle earlier, his last recorded income for a single year was £404,000. He doesn't need £20,000 worth of free suits and glasses for passes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
And do we also think that...
Why was he given a pass in the first place?
Do we also now think that the reason that Wahid Ali doesn't have a pass is simply because he's been caught having a pass?
Of course, exactly. They've taken it away from him because they got found out. What was his job? Why did they give him a pass?
Well, they say he's an advisor and a Labour peer.
He's not an advisor.
But there's about 400 Labour peers.
You have to be appointed.
But one would imagine, therefore, on that logic, that all 400 Labour peers need to immediately be issued with a pass to number 10 Downing Street.